Hello everyone, welcome back to another portfolio review. We're going to take a look at the last week that we've done, or take a look rather at how I've done so far in the last week. Kind of quickly looking at the last month, as we know, it's just been dropping. But then when we switch back to the week view, we actually had some pretty good days where everything was going up. Couple days ago, I think it would have been Monday, I believe. I'll have to look back for sure, but I added a couple more positions, which has been the first time in a while that I've added some more. I decided to pick up some of the beat up companies that have really been taking a hit to this coronavirus problem. First of all is Royal Dutch Shell. This has less to do with the coronavirus, more to do with what is going on in the Middle East along with Russia, but I'll be able to show you in the stock portfolio the gains I've made from them. We'll also kind of take a peek at where I bought them at too as well. Delta Airlines, this one is one for sure that's been beat up by the coronavirus with the lack of travel. This one, I just saw it at a really good price and I picked it up. I have no preference over one airline over another. I would eventually someday like to add, like American Airlines and Southwest or, whatever other companies I see. But for now, I started with Delta Airlines, and hey, up in the cities is a Delta hub, so guess give them some love there. Royal Caribbean and Carnival Cruise Lines were two other positions that I added that were at a fantastic price, and they pay some pretty good dividends too, so we'll go over that as well. But yeah, right now I'm sitting with $14 because I got paid. Oops, I wanted to go into account and history. I got some dividends paying in today, and we'll kind of look at what we're going to be seeing coming up. Bank of Scotland, is already planning out into May that I'm getting dividends, so that's cool. Altria Group, $3.36. That is a huge dividend, at least for me right now. Again, considering that last year, overall, $3 was, oops, I don't want to do that, was what I made completely, so that's really cool. And Coca-Cola paying in April. So I've already got some plans out in May and April of dividends that I'm getting. Pepsi's going to be paying me the day before. But yeah, today I got paid by Kraft and British Petroleum and Bank of America, as I said. So $400 I put on the 26th. Oh, that's when it finished up. But I bought these fellas the 20th. So yeah, last Friday I added them in because I got paid. So really cool stuff going on. We did have a bit of a dip on Friday, but I mean, again, it's not that big of a deal. For the week, we're still up $300, and if we look at the all-time, I'm only now down $400, where I was down almost $800. And a lot of this big growth was from the shares that I added, and we'll kind of go over that as well. This is one of the first times outside of when I first started that I put money into Robinhood, but not M1 Finance. And part of that was because I wanted to grab these shares for sure at a good price. And I'll probably try to balance it out by maybe doing an extra 100 here and there to, get it back to even. But, switching over to the M1 portfolio, not really a whole lot has changed. Again, you can see that the market went up and it shows it over here as well. Only down being 400. If we look at the last week, you can see that we're up $200. So, and then in the last month, it's changed as well. So again, progress is being made getting back. I would like to try to counteract some of these. Kind of adjusted my numbers as well. And kind of switching around companies that I want to hit different targets with. So yeah, if we take a look at the activity, got some smaller dividends added in here, but they'll eventually be added to my portfolio eventually once I add more money. So yeah, let's take a look at the stock portfolio piece, because this is again where I'm showing you like the big gains. So I was able to add 4 different positions for about $100 a piece. I wanted to try to make it even, not so much in shares, but in dollar amount that I spent. This was quite a bit higher. I was overall up 600, well, not up $600, but where I spent 400, these were valued at $650. So I got my money back and then some, but they have dipped a little. But just seeing these gains by themselves, that's really good. That's over $100 in growth. So that's part of what's helping right here, because I nearly bought these at the bottom. Not quite at the bottom, but I'm very happy with where I did buy them at. And we're seeing a lot of these red numbers start to go down. We're still in the red quite a bit with some of these. Again, Wells Fargo's quite red, but I'm seeing progress, and that's good. We're getting slowly out of this, but it may not be for a while still. Taking a look at our dividends projections and also what we've currently have, $10 in March. I don't know if I've showed that off yet, but look at that. We've now crossed the $20 threshold of what we've got and what we're projected to get. So that's awesome. Now we're at the point where it's 5 times as much as last year. So again, that's exactly where I want to see it. I want to see it growing. So March is pretty much coming to a close. So I'm pretty sure $10 is where we're going to be sitting at. April, we're already at $4.50. So I'm assuming that's going to grow quite a bit. Sliding over, let's take a look at our projected dividends updated as of the 20th. With the new positions added, we're now at $175. Will we get exactly $175 this year? Technically, it's possible if I continue to add positions. Yeah, I'm sure we will. But from where we're at right now, if we don't add any, probably not. But again, this is exactly the direction I want to be. Adding the positions, going from 130 to 175, that's a $40 increase. So that's awesome to see. So, and again, we're now getting to a point where this is like an extra paycheck that's getting put into my portfolio without me having to add that money. And this is where I find this investing strategy very comforting. No matter that all these are negative, I'm still getting paid. Does the $10 make up for the $400 I'm down? Absolutely not. And that's not what this is about. But if we look at previous data, I mean, I don't really want to... I usually try to have this planned out, but actually, we'll look at the Dow Jones. Dow Jones history. If we look at the last 5 years, I mean, yeah, it goes down, it goes back up, it goes down. Like even in the long term, it goes down, but it goes back up. And this is very rough, showings overall. Like it's... you can't always look at the past to predict the future, but, you got to understand it goes down, it goes up. So I know that these are eventually going to come back and they're going to be higher than they were before. So it doesn't matter when you start investing, just start at some point. So, but, the other thing I want to point out is where we were at the beginning of the year and where we're at now, which is almost 3 times as much. So that's awesome. I've been able to add a couple positions and increase the number of positions I have in certain stocks. So really good progress. M1 I still haven't updated yet. We're probably going to see that, I'd imagine, next week or so. Imagine the 6th or 7th. And I'll probably make a video around then. Hopefully I can add some more to my portfolio. And hopefully we can get this updated because I really want to see where it's at. Because this is probably where it's going to be that plateau piece of... it looks like I didn't add any money, but I've added quite a bit. But yeah, it's just a funny thing. It's like, this doesn't look like it's any more than when I started a while ago, but that's what it's at. As far as like an update for me, if you only watch these videos, I appreciate you guys coming by. But for people that don't watch any of my other videos, I'm actually like not going to work for the next couple weeks. It was initially just supposed to be this week. I am recording this on the Saturday, so it was this week that I was just supposed to take off and hopefully going back next week. But our governor actually announced as of the 27th for 2 weeks is like lockdown at home. So a lot of other states have been doing this, and my state's no different. We're being locked down, so that's another 2 weeks off work. I am still training. I am still getting paid for the hours that I do for training. Just because there is, knowledge for me to gain and stuff for me to do. So I'm not completely unemployed in that sense, but I will have a lot more free time. So I will be able to, not necessarily with this series, but I will be able to get other videos recorded. So if you're interested in any of my other videos, please feel free to check it out. And yeah, I appreciate anyone that stops by my videos. If you leave a comment, I always reply. Yeah, so that's awesome. So kind of taking a peek at the net worth tracker. As always, I try to get this updated before the video and make sure it's up to date. As you can see, other than my jump from January to February. I have not done a whole lot from February to March. And part of it's due to, the waste cutting of my hours. The market being at such a good position it is right now, I couldn't possibly not invest. And this is again where I'm showing you where it looks like I've added no money except for Robinhood. Robinhood's gotten to that point partially because I added an extra $400 over M1 Finance, but part of it is again where I showed you where I made a huge position move early, like at the bottom, and they've now come up since then. I mean, let's just really quick take a look at equals, if you didn't know, how to do some of these. My gosh, I have my microphone in my way, so I can't really see. So if we just take a peek at that, $512. So I put $400 in here. See if I can do that. Yeah, I put $400. It's now up to $5. So that's really cool to see, and that's where a lot of this is coming from as well. But now we have a good amount of change. We've seen this positively move in the right direction. My retirement account seems to have gone backwards, but it's actually better than it was the last time I recorded this. Again, I pulled some money from my savings to invest, and I'm replenishing it slowly, and my checking account is right where I usually is. So for the first time this month, nearly, we've had some progress. More progress from here, more so than over here. But again, that's the risk in investing. You've got to weigh it. You've got to figure out if that's what... Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know it did that. Let's see what this number is. Wow. I'd love to see my net worth at 300,000. If you didn't see what I'm looking at, there's like this little number down here. So moving over to the charts. I don't really show this off too often, but you can see that no matter what, I mean, I have had negative months, and you can see that right here, but it's always been a positive trajectory, and that's where I want to continue to go. This just shows like the net change or change in net worth. Again, these correlate to the 2 negative months. And then you can see the 1 month where I had a huge change because, well, a lot of it came from the tax refund. And I do, hindsight looking back, it's like, well, I shouldn't have spent my refund on investing because, well, actually, I think I put it in a pretty good spot. I just wish I had that cash now for me not having any money. But again, you do what you can. But yeah, so overall good progress has been made. I guess just kind of taking a look at a couple of the news pieces. I mean, it's just all the same. Everyone's talking about, quarantine this, quarantine that, don't go out this, don't go out that, and all these live updates. Trump is ordering GM to make ventilators. Let's take a look at how they're doing. And again, if we look at the last week, it basically follows every other stock on this. Like, it literally, if I covered up, I used my hand for the computer screen. You couldn't see that. But if I covered this up and put my portfolio right over this, I'm sure it would literally match the line. So, none of you have asked, but the thought just came into my head. I'm just picking on GE for fun. But now that they have, I can buy like in pieces, am I going to do like fractional shares? No, probably not. I'm going to leave that for M1 because that's what it's all about, is fractional pieces. And I like how the automated system works. This I'm reserving for full shares. And I kind of like that difference. Now, will there ever be a point where I combine both portfolios? Yeah, I never know. Honestly, if one platform really screws me over, I might switch over. But I mean, having the cash management is not a bad place to start. Cash earning interest, $10.37. So we'll see if I can get any interest from that. But that is a good start. But yeah, again, I like that I can drop a $300 and it does the work for me. Like a robo-advisor, I think is what the name is of them. But I also like this because then it keeps me informed of what I'm investing in. I kind of look through, check around, and whatnot. So, but yeah, there's other positions I like to add. I guess if I had to make a prediction on which ones I would like to add next, I don't know. I guess I like to kind of make this like a really high dividend portfolio is kind of what I'm turning this into, where this one's dividend growth, this one's like high dividend. And that's why I added like things like Altria Group. Would I ever add that to M1? Probably not, but these aren't necessarily high dividend, but I was able to buy a lot of shares at a good price and it would give me a good market gain. It's kind of the same concept with Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade is I didn't buy them because they have a high dividend, but I bought them at a good price. So, but yeah, I don't know for sure which companies I'd like to add. It's definitely something that I have to look through and really check. This wouldn't be a bad one to add for a lot of people if they're looking for something very consistent. You know, a 2% dividend yield that basically matches any 2% high interest savings. And if we look at the last week, it literally looks way different than the market. If we look at the last month, it's gone up. I mean, only by a couple cents. And if we look at the last 3 months, like it doesn't change very much at all. It actually has gone up more and more, which is kind of funny. Probably because more people have been investing in straight up bonds. If we look at the last year, again, you can see it very consistent. This is something that if you put $100 in, you're not losing $100. Where any other stock, if you put $100 in, you don't know what's going to happen. If we look at the last 5 years, this literally has not changed. If 5 years ago I put in $110, it'd be at $111 today. So it's only gained $1 in market, but over the 5 years, it's given you $10. So not something that you can reinvest really quickly, but hey, $10 is $10 for this staying the same. So something I'd recommend for people to buy. But yeah, I think I'm done rambling. I've kind of gone through my updated stuff as I usually do. I hope in a couple weeks I'll have something new to talk about or new to add. But investors like us, obviously the outside forces of a lot of people losing jobs kind of sucks. But it's fine. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I always appreciate you guys coming by and watching me ramble on and talk about stuff. But anyway, I am off, and I'll see you guys later.